Yo, my name is Duncan and welcome back to round 2 of PSGL. Today we are at Miami and this is our second quali lap. The first lap wasn't really good. I think a bit too much pressure for the banker. So now we have a delta and we are going for our second quali lap, and as you can see in the top right we're instantly almost 2 tenths up, so that's really good. And now up to the S section to make sure to not lose the rear, sometimes quite tricky, and now just about avoid the outside curb, and that's a 0.722 in the first sector, which is alright. Almost 2.5 tenths up, going into the slow section of this circuit, back to 4th gear and keeping it in this gear for this whole section. This is the hardest section of the track, the really tight chicane. But as you can see, we gained a lot of time there with a 0.326 split, which is alright. And now only one corner to go, and the hairpin quite hard on traction, really easy to lose the rear again. But we took that nicely. And now gonna cross the line, and it will be a 126.284, which brings us to P3 for now. And now we are gonna watch to our final quali run. We were in green, but now we're losing a bit of time on the exit. But there is enough time to find in the rest of the lap. So now there we go, a bit wide, and before the race they told us if you extend in that corner you're not allowed to finish your lap. So at this point I actually already knew I wasn't allowed to finish the lap, so I'm also making quite a big mistake at right there, hitting the wall. Even though still hitting the apex quite nicely, and actually did that chicane really good, and we're improving.
Yeah.
And I asked my engineer Joost for today if I was extending, if I extended, and I did. So I'm not allowed to finish this lap. If I was allowed to finish the lap and just didn't extend, I probably could gain at least half a tenth, maybe a tenth. As you can see, we go on the brakes, and that brings us to P8. If we could finish it, we could have been around P4 probably, so that's annoying, but it is what it is. We're starting from P8 with our teammate Matthew in P7. Joost forgot to do his attendance for this race, so he was not allowed to race anymore. So he's my engineer now. We know each other really well, so he knows exactly what I want to know during the race. So that's really nice. Starting in P8, gonna start on the hard tires. No rain expected, so this will be really interesting. Waiting everyone to be ready to go, and now the lights are on. 5 red lights, and away we go. And it seems like our start is really good here. Already getting past Matthew Alder, and then here braking quite late, and we get hit at the rear, and we're all the way in P16, but we are still ghosted, so we are up to P10 again.
Oh my god!
Oh, okay, then it's alright. I thought my race was over, but as you can see my reaction,
Ik zei dat hij daar rustig op rijden.
I had a bit of luck to be ghosted after I got spun around. We were in P7,
2.4
and now we're on P10, so we lost 3 positions still, so that's unfortunate.
Again.
Now we are in lap 9 behind the AlphaTauri of Pookie. Luke Smith behind us. And I think the top guys are already gone, but now the cars ahead are battling. And I was just saving my ERS here, and Joost also told me that Pookie was on around 30% ERS. So maybe if they keep on battling, it will be easier for us to make a move later on in the race. As now Danny is ahead of us in the Red Bull. He dropped quite some positions, so maybe he's struggling on the race pace or on ERS management. And now going on the straight in the second sector, and our exit is much better than Danny's, and he's flashing actually, and we are still on 50 or 60%, so we're using our ERS trying to get past, and we are now ahead of him. He's still on the inside. We're going side by side, but next corner is to the right, and we have the inside, and that's the move done up to P9. So that was a nice move there. And then we got hit from behind from Danny again. Luckily we didn't lose too much time as in turn 1 in lap 1. And now Luke Smith is ahead of us. I think he had some damage because normally Luke Smith is really competitive, and now he was struggling in the race a bit, so he probably had some damage. And now you can see cars up ahead blowing away. They're using all the ERS for the track position, and you can also see there the field is quite close, and now they're going side by side through here. That's actually not possible, especially in the chicane. And now Primoz also had to go had to cut the chicane there, had to make sure not to make contact or spin around. And then in lap 13 Primoz has a penalty because he cut the chicane. And now he was flashing the lap when he was battling with Pookie, so now we are using our ERS trying to get past. He is also trying to defend, but we have way more ERS to play with, and I think a bit more straight line speed. And now I left him the space there, but he still made contact. Fortunately he didn't spin around, so it's all good. And then skipping the straight ahead. There are some people already pitting, but I want to make sure to have decent medium tires at the end. And now we're gonna follow Pookie into the pits, braking a bit early, but I didn't know where to brake for the pits. So the cars who already pitted, they have done their outlap, of course, so their tires will be warmed up, and we are gonna come out of the pits with really cool tires, so that will be tricky and interesting. At least we jumped quite some people here, and Luke Smith just about gets ahead of us. Luckily we did not spin around there. And now Georges is going to the inside there. We have really cool tires, so we're gonna be really cautious here. And then
Fucking idiot, sure.
so yeah, the Red Bull of Danny was that I think it was maybe a bit too aggressive, but of course I was on cold tires, so at least it's unlucky what happened. And we are almost 2 seconds behind, but there's a yellow flag, and Luke Smith had an incident. I'm not sure with who, but at least we are back in the DRS now. There's Primoz again. I think if I see what Primoz did, he let Luke pass, so maybe they had an incident and Primoz gave him the position back, so that's really nice from him, if that's the case, but I'm not sure. But we are now in P16, and this time we're not ghosted and can drive through everyone, so it will be a bit harder to recover from here. So we're gonna do our best, as Primos bottomed out on the curb there and lost his momentum, so we're gonna get past, and that's an easy pass here, up to P15 and now in P14 because one driver pitted ahead of us. And now we still have Luke Smith ahead of us, and as you can see he's losing quite some time in this S section. And the cars up ahead are also quite close to each other, so I don't expect the pace to be that high. And now we are using our ERS. Luke Smith not even defending, so it's also a reason why I thought he had damage. So up to P13, and guys up ahead still battling, Simon Prickney and Sam McBride. Sam just about kept his nose in there. Simon Prickney is now ahead of him. So now, as you can see in the minimap in the bottom left, there are some gaps in the top 6, top 5 I would say, as Simon and McBride are still battling and Sam McBride is flashing.
Thanks for the follow.
So he has almost no ERS left. And now still battling, going side by side through here, and Sam McBride just about lost the rear there. So that's an easy overtake for us, an easy position. And now skipping on to lap 23 with 8 laps to go, right behind Simon Perigney. Of course he was battling quite hard with Sam McBride, so I don't expect him to have that much of ERS. So we're using a little bit of ERS here, and now we're turning it back on. You can see how powerful ERS is in this game. Trying to go at the inside, but he blocks us off nicely. Now we're on the outside, squeezing him a bit, but leaving the space on the apex, and now keeping the position through the right hander. We had the inside luckily, so that helped us a lot. Now up to P10 behind Ruben Vallejo in the McLaren. So now in lap 25 you can see 2 cars ahead of us have penalties, so that will be nice for the result. But there is Danny, and he spun around and crashed into the wall, and his whole front wing was off. And
oh,
there
safety car.
There is a safety car. So
Wat ga ik doen?
now it was all about strategy. Are we going in or are we going to stay out for track position? But I decided to go in, as almost no one went into the pits and there are only 2 laps remaining, so we can use a new set of softs here and doing a sprint at the end of this race. And as you can see, we're still in P9. So really, we are in a really good position here, as we didn't lost any positions, and Georges has a penalty, and I think Ruben is in P6 with also a penalty. So we are still on for some good points in this race. Besides, we lost some positions at the start and got spun around after the pit stops. And now the chaos is gonna start. Jack West battling with Ruben, George also getting past him. We are also thinking about going around the outside here, but there's a slightly bit of contact and I had to cut track there or I would get spun around. And now I'm gonna go down the inside there. We have soft, you have more grip, and now Ruben defending against Simon as well. And now it was hoping not to get blown up in the next corner, as they all want to brake as late as possible. But luckily we are still alive, so it's all good for now. Up to P8 and a net P7, I guess, with George is having a penalty. But Simon was still quite close to us, so I was hoping that he didn't send it on us, but he was not using any of his ERS, so that's good. And now, as you can see, cars up ahead, making contact as well between Dommy and Jack West, and a small incident. Dommy on a medium, so Jack West definitely gonna try to get the position again. Moving to the inside is really late, and Dommy saw that coming, and just let him go. And we're having a good exit here, but we couldn't keep our momentum, or we would have hit Domenico on his rear. So now we are having much more grip through these corners. And now trying to get a good exit here, but we slightly have a bit of oversteer. And now using our ERS, trying to get past. Dommy is already flashing. We still have 20% of ERS. Now we're using it again. He is not defending, so that opens the door for us. And now cars up ahead. George Nader and Pookie went off the track. They had an incident. George wanted to get past him, but he was too late and hit Pookie his rear. So that's us up to P5.
What the fuck?
And now we took that warning in the chicane, because we had no warnings earlier in this race, so we could take the risk and gain a little bit of time to make sure to not get overtaken by Simon Perigney, and maybe do a move on Jack West, but he was too far ahead of us to make a move. And now we're gonna cross the line in style in P5, almost losing the car. I have P5. Let's see. Did something happen? No. Forget about it. Welcome everyone. Imagine I went left side in the wall. Oh my. Oh my, that was close. Yeah. My God. So at the end, we crossed the line, almost crashed out, but it was all good. At the end, starting from P8, getting hit in turn 1, then making some moves, and then after pit stops, spun around, being all the way in P16, making some moves again, safety car, pitting to softs, making some more moves. And at the end, we finished in P5. So, this was the race. It was a good race. I'm happy with it at the end. The race pace was really good. Unfortunately, we extended in qualifying and weren't allowed to finish the lap. So, yeah, that's it for this race. For round 3 and round 4, I won't be racing as I'm on vacation. So I won't be racing then. I'll be back in 3 weeks, and I hope to see you guys there. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys next time. Ciao.